Greetings. Hey, it's Susie Q here. We're working with Are You a Victim of Love? This is part 7, and there'll be 12 in total. Super awesome. So, when we're working with some of these energies, we're working with two different concepts. It could be polarity, or it could be dichotomy that's moving through, but we're working with what is called anger and then moving into acceptance of change. And so I've got an example because we could focus on anger, get all like angry and everything like that, or we could just focus on acceptance of change. And so we're going to really focus on that acceptance of change. And so I do a lot of automatic writing, and I'm also an Akashic reader. And so one of my Akashic records came through a number of years ago, probably back in maybe 2016, I'm guessing. And it was maybe like 200, 300 years ago. I don't even know. It's like I don't even know. Back then, we didn't even know what the days were or the times. So it was interesting because I was a young lady, maybe about 13 or 14, and she was at the top of this kind of like near a cliff, that she was, and there was an ocean beyond that, but she was standing at that precipice of that beautiful cliff. And then what was interesting was that the energies about that was, because she looked like she had a little bit of wealth or and noble quality. A lot of times people want past lives that are like, I'm a king, I'm a queen, but she looked clean. A lot of the lives I've had were simple. People didn't know exactly where they lived. They couldn't even name those places, but it did seem like that was she was clean. She was clean. It's so weird. Anyway, so all right, so she was standing on that cliff, and she was looking across, and then she saw this dragon that was coming towards her, and the dragon looked really like scaly and kind of yucky, and it was moving so slowly. And what was interesting with this too is that as she was watching that dragon, and she was kind of going towards another mountaintop or another cliff, and she kept watching that dragon, and the dragon was looking at her as well. And in that moment, there was a acceptance of change, an acceptance of change that she wasn't scared, she wasn't afraid, she just knew that there was a connection. There was an eye to eye connection with that girl and also with the dragon. And so the more that that dragon got closer to her, she felt safe. She felt safe, and she was able to change her. Maybe she was used to dragons. I don't really even know. But that acceptance of change, moving from anger, from something else, some like tense energies. It was just not there. It was not there in that moment. And so it seemed like it was a long time that that dragon was getting closer to her. But what we eventually found out with that Akashic record is that that girl was probably one of my past lives, I'm guessing. And then what happened was finally that dragon went past her, and there was some sense of love. There was some sense of love and connection and community with these two, this girl and the dragon. And then all of a sudden, went into the mountain, and the dragon became part of the mountain. And so some of these stories are so interesting and fascinating, and I really love. I've written the automatic writing pieces before on that piece with part of my Akashic records. So we're going to move to another dragon event. So when I'm working with quantum healing hypnosis technique, a lot of times dragons come through. Dragons are such I can't even say it, mystical, beautiful beings. And I have had a few people that have come in with having different levels of dragons, different colors, different shapes, different events. And then I had another person that came in, and he was really into all of the dragons. And the dragons were kind of part of his family. So at one point in his Akashic records through the QHHT, we found that he had a family, a dragon family. and there was all kinds of connections that I can't remember all of the details. But what we found later through the subconscious mind is that that dragon family, he wanted to reconnect. He's now in, he's not a dragon now, but he was still wanting to connect with some of those spirits of the dragon. And it was, he had a family of dragons, that was the wife, that was like a wife. We call it a wife, I don't know, a female dragon, and then and small children dragons. And I don't even know how to even like explain it, but this dragon energy related to what we call anger, because sometimes when people see something that's so different and scary and big and large, and all of these things are happening, is that we start moving into acceptance of change. And I think the dragon energy for my own self really brought a lot more love and unconditional love. And so maybe at the beginning it was an angry looking entity or energy, and then we find that there's just pure love there, pure love. The acceptance of change is always working for us. So whatever you're experiencing with anger or things that you're not comfortable with, is that there is an opportunity of acceptance of change, and it could be through dragons, or it could be through, just being who you are, just acknowledging these beautiful energies that we're working with on this video now. So going back to my Akashic records, it was a fascinating experience to be to be looking at some of my Akashic records, and then actually like watching it as if it was on a show or a movie. It was, everything was so synchronistically divine, because these two beings, this girl and the dragon, had a level of connection. And sometimes when we're angry with others, or we're not feeling 100%, we find that commonality in a way. We find that commonality of um, being the dragon or being the person. So all of these energies have been so fun for me to observe and to witness. I've had many more through the QHHT sessions with dragons, and some people like think they're scary, but whenever people come in for QHHT with dragons, they're like part of their spirit team. They're like spirit team energies. They're like high energy frequencies. And so I think that's it for now, but I'm really happy to share this. I really didn't know what I was going to say, but I guess I said what I needed to. So when we move from anger and going into acceptance of change, I think we feel lighter in our bodies. The anger energy is just such a, oh, it's so constricted. It's like you're like in a box, and the box keeps shrinking. You're getting smaller and smaller and smaller with that box of energy. But when you go into acceptance of change, then everything is open for you. Everything is open for you. So I think that's it for today. We'll see you soon, and namaste.